Well, I also bring that up to go back to Josh's point about the flip-flopping because, he just said that not even 24 hours ago. He's already kind of backed off of that. He said, well, we would only keep things in the legal realm. He said that we need things where it's no waterboarding, doubled down on torture yesterday. Today, he again said, well, I wouldn't make anyone do anything illegal. Live on the air last night, he changed his position on guest workers and his immigration policy, then changed it back again. He said last night that he's flexible. He says a leader needs to be flexible. But how can anyone that supports him trust him anything that he says when he completely changes his positions within hours of saying them, like today? Peter?
Well, you can't trust it. I mean, that's the bottom line. We mentioned earlier that there was a political fact checking that found out he was lying about three quarters of everything that came out of his mouth was a lie. You can't trust him. This is the great danger of Trump, is that he will simply make shit up. I don't think he's even doing it quite as planned as some people, for example, say about Hillary, where she says what people, what she thinks people want to hear at any given moment. I think Trump just is pulling this shit completely out of his ass. He probably doesn't even remember. Yeah, he didn't even remember what his previous position was. He was probably as surprised as anybody when Fox put those slides up, and he doesn't care either. He's simply a demagogue. And, the script for demagogues is fairly straightforward, and that is to keep spewing hate, to keep stirring people up, to keep finding weak folks to make targets out of. And that's what Trump is doing. I mean, his rallies right now where somebody gets beaten up, kind of as it's kind of like it's kind of like when you go see, the Who. You pay to see a guitar smashed at the end. And if you don't get a guitar smashed, you feel cheated. And so that's it. If you don't have a racist beating or the Secret Service throw down a reporter or whatever, it's sort of like, why did I bother to come out for the Trump rally? But I mean, this stuff, it's not hard to trace a path between what Trump's doing now and some kind of brown shirts reminiscent of the 30s in Germany.
We talked about it before, how the Republican Party, more than anyone, seeks out pretty much ideological purity. One of the biggest attacks they can level on someone is that they're a Republican in name only, or they're a flip-flopper. Josh, how is it that this movement in the conservative party, which you would think would only value someone like Ted Cruz, who never backs off of any of his positions, has now rallied around the guy who, is completely unstable in his positions and probably in his emotional health?
Yep.
I think it has to do with the sort of the culture they created to sort of galvanize that movement. And by culture, I mean the media, the media outlets that are more conservative, the positions of all the, political pundits and elected officials and movements like the Tea Party. And to sort of illustrate that point, Peter just mentioned brown shirts. And, guaranteed people listening or watching this, some of them rolled their eyes because, it's like, okay, somebody finally compared someone to Hitler. It must be a discussion about politics. And I think that's sort of, why we're struggling because, if you look back to any election, Obama is a tyrant. Bush was a demagogue. Romney and McCain are flip-flopper rhinos who change positions. I mean, Hillary Clinton is a criminal, and she's, treason. But I'm just saying, there's all this rhetoric. So now, when we have a real fucking demagogue, we don't have the luxury of the strong language necessary to effectively tell people to wake the fuck up and really look at this guy. So when, this is why Fox News, who basically created this monster, was, it turned on him because they were like, wait a minute, this isn't what we want. But he said he's hitting all the right notes and hitting the dog whistle stuff, doesn't seem to like Muslims. He's angry, I'm angry. So they turn on them because they've trained their audience to completely discount facts, completely ignore context, and the most conservative position is the one that's been yelled the loudest. So that's how we ended up with Trump. It's because there's no way to warn people anymore effectively. So when the Washington Post, or not even the Washington Post, when fucking Salon or the Daily, I don't know, Kos, I don't know what that one is, but when them and Breitbart are like, or the Blaze are linked up in saying, hey, this guy Trump is bad, people don't go, oh, wait, maybe he's bad. They go, fucking Blaze, liberal media now. So, I think that's part of the reason why he continues in spite of anything. Like, anything that he said last night would have tanked any other candidate on its own. And I guarantee you he's going to get a bump in the poll, like, at least a bump of support from the people who already like him.
Yeah, the Blaze, for people who don't know, is Glenn Beck's new TV station, which I'm sure is flourishing, being buried like 200 channels down in cable. Eric, does it scare you more? Does a President Trump with the policies that he's proposed scare you more than a President Trump who you don't even know what he thinks?
I think knowing what he's saying is safer because based on the current American political system, he wouldn't be able to actually get much done. Congress will block him, even if it's a Republican-dominated one, especially if he's a bit crazy with the ideas.
No, he's not making any friends in Congress these days.
No, that's right. I mean, the majority of Congress and the Senate all hate him. The GOP establishment has pretty much denounced him. A couple, of them have come out in support of him. The current candidates denounced him for the longest time. Only last night did they say they would work with him if he was nominated. So it's pretty clear that there's a major divide in the Republican Party, and I don't think he would be able to accomplish much as president. It would just be kind of, he passed a couple of small executive orders, but I don't think he could, ban all immigrants, ban all Muslims. That stuff would never happen unless there was a major event that took place to piss people off. But I don't see that happening. So.
Never rule out the chance of another terrorist attack.